All right, let's get a check on what's playing out in the crypto market there. We see risk assets under a lot of pressure at this point, and Bitcoin, Ethereum not left out, 6.41% drop for Ethereum there, losing the $3,000 mark right there. Bitcoin also struggling, 2.91% down, and the top 100 coins on a coin market cap, most of them, a lot of pressure there. Just a few stable coins showing in the green. There. Let's look at some of the headlines now. We see British Regulator and Financial Conduct Authority, that's the FCA. They've launched a wide-ranging consultation on a range of proposed rules for the crypto industry today, a day after the government said the industry would be regulated from October 2027. The FCA set out its proposals alongside research that shows that the proportion of UK adults holding crypto has fallen by a third, from 12% to 8% in the past year. That's what's playing out in the UK. Now, we see JP Morgan, they're making a major move into digital finance. The banking giant has launched a tokenized money market fund on Ethereum's blockchain, bringing traditional investment products to the blockchain and expanding access for institutional and retail investors. Analysts say the initiative marks a significant step in bridging conventional finance with the growing world of digital assets. There we see over $584 million in leveraged cryptocurrency positions liquidated in a sudden, market squeeze, overwhelming and hitting investors, betting on price increases. That's most of the long positions right there in the market. Let's bring in Olumide Adesina, our financial market analyst. Hello, Olumide. Yeah, so we're seeing another big liquidation, over $500 million. I guess this time the longs are getting it wrong again.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. This year has turned out bad for crypto assets. When you rank it among major assets, including stocks, commodities, and currencies, the return on crypto has been surprisingly bad. And, that's coming from the backdrop that bookmakers felt that a pro-Bitcoin president in the world's most powerful economy will tranquil in liquidity. But we've seen cascade of liquidation and losses in the space because of three major things. First of all, the meme coin space, the erratic situation of the asset class, scams, rug pulls, and other dark plays in that space had eroded confidence in the risk asset class. Secondly, we also saw the fact that central banks were playing more on gold than Bitcoin, despite the fact that the United States spoke about using Bitcoin as a strategic asset for safety. So I think that has really affected. Then lastly, we're also seeing the fact that despite the fact the US Fed sounds dovish, investors are wary that there are so many assets in that space, and it's really very hard to give a track. So you see Bitcoin lose red year to date. You see Ethereum also red to date. You're seeing many meme coins down, and also hot coins like XRP, Cardano, Polkadot, and the likes. Privacy coins surprisingly had a good run in last quarter, but you've seen that diluted, and that's pretty much the fact that liquidity is going up. But Ladi, interestingly, if you look at data from Glassnode, the number of Bitcoin holders, long-term Bitcoin holders, have dropped by 1 million because right now we have about 14.3 million Bitcoin long-term holders. When you look at the July rally, you see that we had over 15. So it's really telling you that the long-term holders are taking out. Liquidity is not impressive. The market has not gotten the confidence that we had when President Trump came to power.
So, looking at it, from a historical view, definitely we know November has not been that, it's not been a good month for, crypto assets, and definitely we have festivities coming up, next week. I guess it's a no-brainer. Some investors would like to take out some, money to go have fun. I guess this is expected, right?
Very true, but I think what a lot of market tacticians are worried about, technicians are worried about, is the fact that this year we had the worst liquidation ever in the crypto space. You recall that at some point in October, over 10 billion was wiped out in that we never had that ever in the crypto space ever since historical data has covered such asset class, and that really tells you that we are seeing fear. So I think for the market to bounce, really, there have to be a deep correction. So my take is that a downward trend towards the 75 to 68 support level might really bring in buyers. But if that doesn't happen, I think then we might see the asset Bitcoin ranging between the 80,000 support to the 95,000 resistance throughout this month.
So what are you seeing for, Ethereum now? It's lost that $3,000 mark at this point. Where are you seeing a real bounce, for Ethereum? Or is the trade just, shorting? Is that what, most investors should just do right now? Just
Yeah,
short?
I think what's helping Ethereum right now is institutional play. You recall that after it dropped to its low of around the 1,005 in the second quarter, it bounced back interestingly when you saw listed American companies going into it. So I think institutional investors have a key role. I'm more concerned the fact that if it can hold the 2,800 rather than the 3,000, because that mark, if you look at that mark, it corresponds with the moving average, the day moving average. If it breaks below that, then we might be looking at 2,500 or 2,000. However, if looking at the daily chart right now, it shows that the buyers are holding on. So I probably think that it might reclaim the support back the 3,000 support. But going forward to next year, I'm bearish about Ethereum.
Right, and definitely a lot of investors looking out for data. Some data coming out today in the U.S. and also on Friday. Is there anything in that data that could be a catalyst for an upswing in prices?
Definitely, strong economic data from the world's most powerful economy will trigger in liquidity. You know that the US really control the crypto space in terms of players and the participants in terms of quality. So a positive economic data definitely will turn the market green. However, a meltdown in the market might spell trouble for Bitcoin. And as it looks like, I won't be surprised if it breaks below the $80,000 mark.
Wow,
So,
that's definitely a big drop coming from over $120,000.
yeah.
But with all that's playing out, so far, we know how the market loves, narratives. Is there any narrative that you think investors are missing right now when it comes to the crypto space and digital assets?
I think, to be honest, I think it's been an exciting year for the crypto space in terms of ETFs. You look at BlackRock ETFs. At some point, you know Bitcoin hit the record high, broke the 126,000 resistance, and bookmakers like Standard Chartered were already calling 150,000 for Bitcoin. I think the problem is that we have too many coins in this space, and there are still a lot of dark actors, criminals, insiders, manipulation, and rug pulls, and that has also eroded the confidence overall. So I think for the space to get the integrity and right liquidity, I think the regulation should be holistic. We really need to have fewer coins. We also really need to have channels where people can be held accountable, because a lot of people, including Nigerians, have lost their hard-earned money to many suspicious. So that's also affected, because Vladi, if you look at the space, Bitcoin has done exceptionally well in the last decade. It's still the best performing asset over time. At some point, if you had less than 20,000 naira in 2012 in Bitcoin, you're talking of a billionaire right now. So I think it's really bad to look at the short-term pullback and discount the asset.
Right.
However, the altcoins market really need a lot of regulation. They really need a lot of rejigging. That market has really affected the optimism in the space right now.
Right. I'm wondering why you need over 4 million coins, to do whatever it is, in this market. But, thank you so much. Always great having your perspective. Olumide Additional. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Ladi. Yeah.
All right, so that's the show today. And, from the sentiment we see right now in this final full trading week of 2025, we see it's risk-off sentiment. Thank you so much for watching Business Incorporated. I'll bring you more updates tomorrow. I'm Ladi Williams. I'm in the team right here at Channels HQ. Bye for now.